So when you look at Lisboa from the new Sun-Kissed Summer Collection, you compare it to, for instance, Shanna, which is more of a baby blue, very, very light when you compare it, and it's got a different undertone. And then next we can compare it to Eloise, which is definitely more purple and much lighter than the Lisboa. Then you have number 223 from the Biogel range, which is a lighter blue and also a bit of a lighter undertone when you compare the two. Okay. And then lastly, we are going to look at Catherine. Catherine is much darker when you compare it to Lisboa, and it's got more of a teal undertone when you put them together. Okay, so the Lisboa definitely is more of a sky blue, more vibrant, and a much more of a more pigmented blue when you compare it to the others. The closest to Como that we can find under both ranges is number 300 from the Biogel range. But the 300, I would say, is more, it's a bit softer when compared to Como in color. Como is more vibrant. Heather, on the other hand, has got a more of a yellow undertone to it, as you can see. It still falls under the greens, but it is more yellow when compared to Como. Lana also is more yellow. It's got a bit of a yellow undertone. It is also a bright or more, say, vibrant as well, but it's definitely more yellow when you compare the two. Then Miss Betty Rose is definitely more of a neon green when you compare the two, and it is more green as opposed to the other yellow undertones, but it is definitely neon when you compare it to Como. Okay, looking at Leonore from the new collection, if you compare it to Tatiana, it is the closest to Leonore in the EVO collection. So what you have closest to Leonore is Tatiana. It's just that Leonore is more of a pastel when you have these two together. The next one is Alinta. Alinta is definitely a more pastel color, as you can see, when compared to Leonore. And then from the Biogel range, number 156 is much lighter, and it's a softer, more pastel yellow in comparison to Leonore. And then and then when you look at number 284 from the Biogel range, when you compare the two, the 284 is more yellow. It's got a more of a yellowness to it, whereas the Leonore is lighter and maybe more creamier. Okay. Okay, so when looking at Marisa, what we can find that's closest to it from the existing colors from the Biogel and the EVO ranges is number 208 from the Biogel range. The Marisa is more orange, where the number 208 is more of a coral. But this one is the closest if we compare it from the existing colors. I'm going to look at number 196 against Marisa. You can clearly see that this one is more of a pastel and also more of a coral color. Then we have 104 in the Biogel range, which is neon, and it's got more of an orange to it in comparison. And then lastly, we've got number 282. Very neon in comparison with Marisa, and it's also got a more of an orange, bright undertone when compared to the two. Remember, Marisa, there is no color like her in the EVO range, and it's got a yellow undertone, and it makes it very unique when compared to the other orange tones in the EVO range. Okay, and then looking at Rosa, the closest color that I can find to it is number 84 in the Bijal range. But Rosa is more of a coral and less orange than the 284. Then we get Penny, which is a more neon pink in comparison. Chelsea is also another pink, but it's not as vibrant when you compare it to Rosa. Then looking at Anna, Anna is a slightly darker pink compared to Rosa, and it's got a different undertone, as you can see. So looking at Amalia next, I'm going to go with Becca, which is, I would say, the closest to it in the existing colors that are found in the EVO range. But Amalia is more vibrant, as you can see when you look at them together. And then we have number 64 in the Biogel range. It's not as vibrant as Amalia, and it's a bit of a softer purple. And when you compare the two, Amalia is got a more milky undertone, a creamy undertone, and it's got a slight redness to it in comparison. And then lastly with Christine, it's more of a dusty purple, and it's a softer purple if you compare it, and not as vibrant as Amalia is.